What's the most illegal thing you've, allegedly, done as a teenager? Accidentally used inspect element on the Google homepage at age 9, thought I'd deleted Google and was going to get arrested. I was waiting for the sirens to show up. We used to do that at school but make fake news stories of the teachers. Good times. Me and my friends would go to a payphone and call some call girl and the friend with the deepest voice did the talking because we were 13 at the time. Lamau. Not really illegal but we felt like absolute gangsters. Haha, I did that with my girlfriends a lot, pre-smartphone era. We would go to a payphone and call up dudes we had a crush on in high school. Had to entertain ourselves somehow lol. When I was 17 I got super drunk with some friends and we decided to break into our town's local football stadium, also used for concerts, and we played a match at 1 in the morning. It was truly epic. 13-year-old me was convinced I was going to get in trouble for downloading Pokemon ROM hacks. Used telecast, pictures, descriptions and accounts of the game without the NFL's express written consent. We might have burned an antique piano while intoxicated in a field. I used to use the pay phone at the local park to call the cops. Tell them kids were doing drugs in the parking lot. They would show up and we would egg the shit out of them. We would run, reposition, and egg them again. We did this like 90 times over a few years. Break and enter a friend of a friend's home while they were on vacation. Kinda related, but when I was in my late 20s I met with a childhood friend whom, while catching up on life, confessed to me that while our family were away on a camping trip, him and another friend broke into the back garage of our house when they were about 11 or 12, basically crawled under the alarm laser sensor, which they knew about on the entryway, like fricking Mission Impossible, and stole beers out of my dad's bar fridge. I actually distinctly remember my dad a bit pissed mentioning that his friend who he asked to come in to water the plants while we were away, was free to help himself to a few drinks, but not clean out his whole beer inventory. We would point at cops and run. When you do this, they chase you. If they catch you, they're pissed. We would walk out into the street when they were coming, stop like a deer in the headlights and then run in the opposite direction. Lights, sirens and backup usually while we hide in bushes. Huge adrenaline rush at a young age. A friend of mine and I had an entire summer of stealing American flags from neighborhoods all throughout the suburbs where we lived when we were 15 to 16. Never caught, but I did tell my mom the story recently as an adult and it illuminated her about where all the flags came from that they had found stashed at my grandparents' house. I think the worst thing I did was trespassing in an abandoned war bunker near a busy road, caravans, a private school, a popular shop in the entire town. It was really cool down there. I had a part-time job when I was 17, 18 working at a small independent PC repair type shop. Boss was doing all kinds of shady stuff, handling stolen goods. Place would have regular break-ins when it just so happened that we had a load of inventory that was beyond economical repair. Years after I moved away he actually got jailed for a combination of insurance fraud and burglary, but that's a whole other story. The business had a couple of locations, and a couple of business clients they would do on-site work for. So, 17-year-old me gets asked by the boss, how are your driving lessons going? I'd had about 5 hours behind the wheel at that point, was going okay. He takes me out into the car park and has me drive one of the company cars around it a couple of times, then says, right, this car is for you to use now, I need you to go and visit client and do whatever. I was thrilled. It was a nice car, albeit plastered all over with the company's name and contact info. I drove that car around for about 8 months, all the other engineer types with the company had their own, so it effectively became my car, with no license, insurance, etc. Looking back like, frick me, that was dumb. Lucky nobody got hurt, or that I didn't run afoul of the law. Definitely not proud of being such an idiot at the time. Stole a car at 14 and drove to a nearby Kmart and did donuts with some friends in the empty parking lot during a blizzard. And also heroin. Free gems. 100% working Clash of Clans. When I was 17 I was in a band, they were all older, 21 to 25. We just finished playing a gig in South Central. One of my friends was a security guard. He had a badge that he wore while working along with his cuffs, baton act. He asked me to come help him with something and we walk up to these two guys who were selling weed down the street. He runs up, grabs the guy, cuffs him and tells him, give me all of what you got and I'll consider not taking you to jail tonight. The guy complied and gave him around $200 to $300 worth of weed. We leave and go back to the gig that was in someone's backyard and smoked all the weed. My buddies and I lit a bush on fire near someone's house. We didn't know there was dry brush and somehow when it caught fire it ran upside the house to a dead tree and lit the house on fire. There was no one home, but all 5 of us broke into it and ran inside to check and called the 911 to tell them we broke into the house because we saw it was on fire and tried to save anyone who may have been inside. People who got house burned got a nice check from their insurance and a brand new home, and we got our names in small local newspaper for teenage bravery. Oh man. I have allegedly shoplifted more than I purchased from convenience stores. We regularly jumped the fence at our local zoo when we were high or drunk. Not to vandalize anything, just a fun place to be at night when you were shit-faced. Once we jumped the wrong fence, it wound up in the ostrich area. Holy frick, are they big, never ran so fast in my life. Snuck over a government fence with my BF drunk and high. We spray painted the walls and climbed the electrical building of the water tower. They originally had one sign that said like trespassing will result in 100,000 fine and 5 years in prison, some shit like that. The next day they hung 3 more of those signs. All I did was spray paint my initials and a man putting a flag on the moon. At 19 I was driving a car when my license was in the process of being issued, so basically driving without one yet. Allegedly pranked called some really famous numbers that were passed around on BBC back in the day. I made my government transportation building create a fake ID for my mate that was 1 year younger than the rest of the friend group. There are dozens of cameras on the ceiling and the lady behind the computer told me some info maybe she hadn't, which was we don't keep photos of you because of privacy laws. So I was like, yo Daniel, take 3 identification forms, birth cert, bank statement, Medicare card, and go in and proclaim that you are me. We were the same height, brown hair, brown eyes. He walked out with a legit fake ID created by the government, lol. There's more to the story, but it's getting a bit too long to be honest. Reprogrammed a payphone to make whatever number I wanted to be a free call, then putting in the number of someone I disliked intensely to lead it back to them if it was ever found out. Stole a car, stole a frickload of newspapers one night, smoked so much weed. Yeah, mostly just stealing shit, like a frickwit. Not me, but my next door neighbor snuck into my house through the dog door while the family was on holiday to sit and play Super Smash Bros. Melee on our GameCube. I had a friend who decided to make a potato cannon. It was great fun. We figured after many uses that hairspray worked best and golf balls wrapped in plastic bags and tape packed the most punch. Potato Cannon Mk2 had a gas light sparker, much more compact, and a streamlined design for extra force. My mate got his license and one night we decided to go driving around with the launcher at 2 a.m. We fired at street signs and various other things until we decided to go to the rival high school. We did a drive-by and launched a projectile straight through the entrance windows, allegedly, lol. Looking back on it, it was really dumb and we were just stupid teenagers. I'm just glad that the early 90s didn't have security everywhere and didn't take this sort of thing so seriously. We also had a war memorial in our town, on a bit of a hill. There were old cannons there at the top. We realized at some stage that a 2-liter bottle fit perfectly down the barrel of the cannon, so we loaded up a chlorine bomb with hardly any shaking it, jammed it down the barrel with a stick and then loaded a bunch of rocks in it. It fired them so hard out the barrel that it hit house roofs below. My teenage years were filled with lots of homemade explosives and other dangerous things. I'm just glad I didn't lose a limb or my life looking back on it. A store in our area had giant fiberglass mascots on the roof. One of them had a big cigar. I climbed up on the roof and unbolted the cigar. Made of wood and had a threaded bolt going through the head. A few months later they replaced it. Not nearly as well made. A cut-off baseball bat that had been painted and glued in place. Took 30 seconds to get that one. About a year later they tried again. Didn't last. Soon after that the chain made the character a non-smoker. This was circa 2001, so I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations has long run out. Also the restaurant in question is long closed. Me and my boy found out that the Mexican restaurant down the road from us left their gate in the back unlocked. Inside the gate was another little gated/fenced area and it was locked, but the chain around it was so loose we could pull the gate open and slide our bodies through. That inner gated area was what many restaurants call the beer cage. It's where they kept all their beer that wasn't being refrigerated under the bar. He and I used to sneak out around 2 to 3 a.m. and swipe a 12-pack or 2 of something from in there, take it back to his house and proceed to get hammered for free. Plus we were underage as frick, so we didn't have to worry about getting carded. We really had a good thing going for a couple of months. They kept leaving that gate unlocked and we were stealing maybe 2 12-packs per month out of that place. Not really enough to be noticed, apparently, because they never did shit to stop us. My friend and I stupidly let it slip to some other friends what we had been doing. A weekish later me, my friend, and like 4 other dudes were backing a tuck up to this restaurant at 3 in the morning and just swiping every bit of beer they had. We must have taken like 20 12-packs, 15 6-packs, like we literally stole all the beer they had. It was freaking stupid and also greedy. I'd quote we were thinking. That shit was in the newspaper, there was a reward for anyone who had any information leading to an arrest. Somehow between the 6 of us, word never got out. We ended up drinking all the evidence in fairly rapid fashion. All I can do is be thankful this was before the days of literally every corner of every building having some kind of camera mounted. You could never get away with some shit like that today. I've committed hundreds, perhaps thousands of acts of piracy before I hit 18. Which is a federal offense. Oh, also smoking pot, trespassing and vandalism. First offense wasn't legal yet lol. I got a job at McDonald's for one day and I took all the hamburgers home with me. So I'll be able to live off of McDonald's hamburgers for the next at least 10 years. I never did it, but around New Year's my parents were totally fine with letting my older brother, around 18 at the time, drink from the selection of alcohol on display on our bar dresser storage thing. They let him go hard, but made sure he didn't poison himself. They were fine with me and my brother's underage drinking on certain special occasions after a certain point since they could watch us and make sure we didn't kill ourselves. Other than that, piracy and always putting in a fake birth date/age for a website asking for it.